I know I look like a bit of a douche. I thought I'd better clean myself up because the last couple I've looked like a crazy person. I probably still, it's very windy, and my hair is very clean, so it won't do well in the wind. I thought I'd start on a slight tangent. This thing I have been on a go slow with, mainly because I have to concentrate on the Range Rover, but partly because I know that a car like this that has gotten damp inside, especially one that relies on so many electrics and stuff, it can do very well to just dry out. So on days like today, which we do have quite a few of, even though you probably think differently looking at the videos, I've just been slightly opening the doors, and 2 days ago my mother asked me to move it, and I did, and I started playing with it a little bit, and the parking brake, the gear release solenoid started working again. So that's another part that I don't have to replace. And as you probably have guessed, in these kind of situations, especially with a car like that, not having to buy things that you don't need is a very good thing. Now, come with me on a journey through time and space to how things are going to be. Let me just do this. It'll take a second for me to do this. I'm still with you. Just bear with me. We're in the Range Rover. Will this stretch? It will stretch. Okay, and if I do that, is that a better shot? And is that even better again? Okay. Now, hopefully this is how things are going to be very soon. Key. Did I ever show you this? Cool, right? I've had a bit of a chest infection tried to get me, but I'm just too powerful. But I have a little bit of a wheeze. Now, vroom. I thought we'd go for a little bit of a spin. There are a few things I want to speak to you about. There's a lot of rattling going on, and I've just remembered. This is pretty funny. I'm just going to put a few nuts into the roof so that it doesn't blow off. I think we're good to go again. Will I venture to open the sunroof? I won't. I've tied the roof down to a degree. And I thought we'd go for a little spin, because we've got lots of stuff to cover, and I wanted to talk to you about a few things, and maybe this will be a bit more of a focused environment. The windscreen is in. That's the first thing. Here we go. The windscreen is in, and I managed to nail down the windscreen fitter, a guy called Anthony, for an interview. And it turns out Anthony is extremely qualified. I'll take that out of the way. He actually represented Ireland in a windscreen fitting competition, national competition, and then went to Paris, I think, for the internationals, which is kind of cool. Anyway, he's a little bit camera shy, but he's still, whoa, there we go. I just have to go up on a curb there. This isn't road legal, by the way, this car. I'm going into the field, and that's something I want to talk to you about too. Anyway, we still covered a lot of cool stuff, myself and Anthony, and he is a very knowledgeable guy. Now, the reason I'm bringing it up, aside from the fact that the windscreen is in and I'm now driving the car, is that Anthony, the interview I did with him, it's going to be in the next episode, at least. It's very hot in here. It's going to be the first of the kind of new run of things where I will do a teaser of the interview. So there'll be 2 or 3 minutes of the interview in the episode, and then you will get the full interview behind the scenes in Patreon. Do you know, I suppose to sum it up, and this is just something that confirmed my thoughts on the matter. To sum it up, a comment was made, I think yesterday or the day before, on one of the episodes, and I'm sorry if it was you and I haven't replied yet. But the comment essentially said, to get this kind of production for free is incredible. And that's not that I want to start monetizing or anything like that. The way I'm coming at this is I'm constantly looking at ways to make the fact that you're here supporting the series, making the series happen, to make that kind of pay for itself for you even more. I mean, I know, and you've told me before that, you know, for the videos to keep coming is the main thing for you guys, and then to see the behind the scenes is a great little bonus, and that's cool. But I do have some other stuff, and I'll tell you about them now. I'm going to send this out on a mailing list because I know that the majority of the patrons don't actually see these videos. So I want to get under everyone's noses, at least to tell them this few things. I have a discount code coming for a major, now they're US based, supplier of restoration products, right? Everything from, you can buy a crowd called Eastwood. You know, if you're from the States or Canada, you're gonna know who Eastwood are. If you don't know who they are, maybe if you're in the UK, you've heard of Frosts. Well, Frosts are Eastwood's agents in the UK, and maybe I can do something with them too. More on that in a sec. But I've got a discount code coming from them because they have sent me some tools, and I'm gonna do a couple of episodes kind of mentioning Eastwoods and stuff in return for these tools. I got a bead roller, by the way, a motorized bead roller, and all the dies for it, and I'm going to use that to fabricate stuff for the Sprinter to kind of customize the body on it. So that's the first thing, like extra value for you. The discount code, it's 15% basically, which I don't think's bad, right? It's not too bad. 15% off any kind of hardware you could think about for restoring your car, and hopefully I can bring that online, like I say, with Frost in the UK. The reason I wanted to talk about Frost again a bit more is that my guy in Eastwood is trying to get me the right contact in Frosts, because Frosts may be where I go to buy the welder. And I really am feeling like Father Ted now when I say the money really is resting in my account. I have, you probably know this about me, I'm a very stand-up guy, and I've tried to ensure I don't touch that money, even dip into it in a pinch, and it has gotten very pinchy the last while, but the money is intact. Just the windscreen debacle, that kind of put a severe pinch. I mean, that was a real case of trying to do it cheaply. You know, I wasn't even trying to do it cheaply, but I was going to say trying to do it cheaply, you know, turning its heel on you and basically turning into twice the price. But I did it that way anyway because it's learning, because it's kind of like, how are we going to do this? How is this possible? What is possible in terms of windscreen for a kind of DIY guy? And I wanted to go through that process because I know a large part of what I do for other people, you know, the value in it for other people is that you see somebody, you know, giving it a go and failing quite a few times. So hopefully I can get Frost online, and hopefully I can get the welder through Frost, or welders as I hope it will be. They would be Eastwood welders then, because Eastwood even do their own welders. And I think their price points are well within grasp in terms of the deal I want to do, which is a MIG plant and a TIG plant for the money. Obviously in return for some promotion as well in the series. So that's that. The other thing is, I put a couple of days, literally another couple of days, into trying to finalize the sticker designs. Okay, I'm waiting to see the tool chest sticker. I love it. It's just so cool. Well, I'll put a visual up. Here's the tool chest sticker, and then the sticker for the cars I have decided upon too. It's one that I did have a sample made up of. I'll show you the sample. Here's the sample as well. Now, it's on my mother's car, and I love it. Now, the problem with it is it's too transparent. I wanted the roundel of it to be transparent, but I didn't want the nozzle to be transparent. That was a mistake on the part of the printers. So that will obviously, it'll be a lot more visible, but it's still quite a small kind of subtle sticker. I don't want Soup to be very shouty that way, you know. I like things that you have to go up, and if you're interested, you'll go and look and you'll see what is that, and oh, that kind of looks cool when you see it close up. The other thing is, so the stickers, they're coming. I'm wearing my Soup t-shirt. I only have one. I have to pay for these just the same as you would, but if you are looking for Soup merchandise and there isn't a discount code obvious, hit me up, because patrons don't pay. Obviously, I have to pay for them, like I say myself. They don't come from me, they come through this service. I don't have the money to be buying a whole bulk lot and then send them out as they are ordered. It just isn't at that point yet. So I have to buy mine just the same way as you'd have to buy yours, but with the discount, I don't know, I think it's 20% or something like that. It's as close as it can be without them actually costing me money if you buy them. So at that, I think it brings them down to a point where they're still quite cheap, I think, for a t-shirt in this day and age. I mean, t-shirts have gone mad, but they're less than $20 or €20. They're like 15 or 16 or 17 or something like that with the discount code. So if you don't see a discount code, hit me up, and I'll sort it out. I am going to renew one. See, it runs out, and because I'm juggling so much, I forget to renew it. So I'm going to renew it now before I put this up. Is there something else? This thing is beautiful, by the way. And we're driving around the field. Oh, I do want to talk to you about the field. My buddy, the architect, what I've done is I really want to build a workshop and a home, because I'm living with my parents. If you don't know that, Soup is my main income. It's my only income. I don't have a job. This is my job, and I'm treating it like a startup. I have done from the start. That's why I will sleep in a unit and just work my ass off, and that's why I do 12-hour days, generally 12 to 14-hour days. I'll work on the car until it's either I'm too beat or it's too dark, and then I'll go into the house and I'll edit for 2 or 3 hours. And I have to do that every day, every night, because I couldn't do it. I wouldn't be able to get an episode out if I left all the editing right until the end. So that's the way my days go, and we're into the 3rd year now, and I am kind of getting to a point. I don't know if you're like me. At certain points through my life, as I matured and I got older, there comes these times when you realize you just have to say fuck it, you know, when there's stresses or when there's something. I mean, because I've always been a very probably overly conscientious kind of person, overthinking things, over worrying about things, and I think now in the 3rd year I'm starting to get to another point in my life where I am forcing myself to take a day off. Sorry, it's not so much a force. I find myself having to take a day off because I'm just burning out, and luckily I still have the energy that I can generally rejuvenate myself in a day, maybe a day and a half. So anyway, I have been talking to my architect buddy, who's very excited to do this build with me, and I've been trying to impress upon him to please just start designing the house. I made him a video, a kind of a brief video, which he loved. He said it was the best brief he's ever gotten, which is great. But I'm trying to get him to just go and do it, and he's saying, "Oh, we're gonna do." Do you know the way a mechanic would have maybe a classic car in the background for a client, but on the understanding that it would be a very long-term thing, and that he'd only have his guys work on it when they were in a slow patch. Well, that's kind of the way my buddy has it in his mind about my designs, and that's fair enough. But since Christmas, I opened a savings account, and I have been pumping every little bit of cash that I was able to not have to spend into that. And I'm trying to impress upon my buddy, you know, just do it and I'll find the money, because it needs to happen. And as this thing gets finished and I start working on the Esprit could get finished very quickly, because I mean, it's going to be months and months and months, but I am going to be really hell for leather on that. And then what happens? I really want to restore the other Range Rover, and that's a really special one. And I know you're kind of going, do I want to see another Range Rover? That's a really special car. It's already modified. I modified it after I bought it. It's got some cool stuff going on, and it is going to be an epic build, in the sense that it's going to be, I want that car to be like the best, you know, perfect, everything perfectly considered, everything perfectly done, all the best finishes. Not like this, not in the... This has really been, what can I do? You know, and I've always billed it as that. What can I do with a very meager budget and all that kind of stuff? And it's not to say that I want to go all out and just start throwing money at the Range Rover. I still want to do it very practically, but I want it to be an incredible car when I'm done. Like, I mean, pitch perfect from top to toe. So where do I do that? I can't do that outside the house. No way. I've learned from this car, there is only a certain level of perfection, not even perfection, there's only a certain standard you can get to doing stuff out in the open air. That's just the way it is. Unless you're farming parts out, unless you're farming processes out to somebody who is doing them inside, and then you're just bolting them together. But I don't call that a restoration. I just don't. And I have a kind of a little pet hate when I hear somebody going, oh, I restored that car, and what they actually mean is I paid somebody else to restore that car. So anyway, that's about it. I'm going to drive back into the house now, because I will get some footage of the stickers and stuff that I said I'd show you. I'm sure there's something else I wanted to talk to you about. None of this was an upsell, by the way. I know you know that, because I don't want any more from anybody who is already here. I do want to say a massive thank you to Davey, patron Davey, and patron Michael, who both went out of their way to help me with the whole windscreen saga. And poor old Michael is still dealing with it. Michael has the first windscreen I bought in the UK, the one off eBay that wasn't good enough. He still has it. We're just trying to get to the point where we can actually catch these guys to drop it back into them and then get the refund. So Michael and Davey really just went way and above and beyond too. Thanks a million. What else? I feel like I'm saying and a lot more these days, but my mind is on about 16 different things. This thing is making me very happy. Oh, you might have caught a comment that I made when I posted the last video, the patron behind the scenes video, about worrying that the head gasket may be gone. I really don't think it is. I think there was probably just a hell of a lot of moisture in the exhaust, and V8s are kind of prone to making moisture, which is something I'd kind of forgotten. It's been a long time since I had a V8. The other Range Rover was V8 when I bought it, and then I put an even bigger V8 in it, and then I went diesel. But just this thing, I don't know if you can, I doubt the mic is doing it any justice, but it's just burbling away. And I know it was a bit bumpy in the field, but you just waft around. Andy, pal and patron Andy, popped up yesterday. Did I start saying that already? He brought his drone with him, and we got the most beautiful bit of drone footage of me mowing the field with this thing for the next episode. And this morning I was recording the audio in the car, and he was recording the video on the drone, and I went to check the audio. Didn't record. So the bit of phone footage, or the bit of drone footage, I mean, I can make anything work, I can use it, but it's just not the way I wanted it to be. So I don't know if we're going to get a chance to do it again before I have to get an episode out. I have to go and edit this episode now. It's kind of dead late as usual. It's going to be a, like I say, the first episode in a long time with an interview in it, or part of an interview in it. And then you guys have the option, because, you know, a lot of people say, the interviews didn't do too much for me, and then other people say I love the interviews. So you can't please everybody, but you can certainly make it that you guys, or you, are getting at least the option of extra value. And what do you think of that? This thing it's very cool. There's lots of little niggles. Let me just very quickly, before I go, I'll run you through some of the stuff that's going on. The sunroof is a serious issue. Should I show you this? I probably should show you this. I had a little bit of fun with the sunroof. The issue with it, by the way, is that you can see that there's obviously no headlining in the car. The issue with the sunroof is that I think it just needs to be greased in its worm drives, because I greased all of the rails and stuff But when I try and bring it forward, it opens no problem. I won't do it now. But when I try and bring it forward again, it's trying to tilt back up. You know, before it even gets, it just comes out to here, and then starts to tilt back up, and it's wedging itself back in the roof. So I think it's just feeling the resistance of something, and because it feels the resistance, it thinks it's closed and it's trying to tilt back up. Because if I pull it while I'm trying to close it, while the motor's trying to close it, it comes all the way forward and then it'll tilt up. So I think it's just resistance. The thing I was wondering about whether I should show you or not is I had a bit of fun with it. Hey. So it's actually the first time I see it. It's kind of cool. That's the sticker design. Yeah, you've seen it already. That's the sticker for the car window, by the way. What other niggles? The passenger window. Check this out. Where's the key gone? I know this is a crazy long video, but check this out. Passenger window. Windows are flying, by the way, because the car was well maintained. Flies down to halfway and then just stops with a thud. And the reason is, and that's why the door card is off, the flies back up too. It's hitting. It's literally fouling the motor inside. It's fouling the window motor, and I'm hoping that that's because maybe I knocked the actual glass frame out and it just kind of sat in at the bottom a bit. But it's the rail of the bottom of the window that's hitting the motor and stopping. So if I tilt the top of the glass frame in a bit, the bottom of it will go out slightly and hopefully miss the motor. And the reason I think that might be it is because I can't figure any other reason. I mean, I can see where it's fouling. The other thing is, if I do this, it's kind of rattling a bit, and I think maybe, like I say, this frame just needs to go in slightly. In the engine bay, I've cleaned it up quite nicely. I did this whole slam panel. I don't know if you can see that. It's not a perfect job, not by any means, but I've replaced everything with stainless fasteners anywhere it was applicable. Cleaned stuff up. It's not nearly finished. The airbox modifications aren't finished. They will feature in this episode coming, because the airbox was rusted out completely. It's running really well. It's such a lovely car. By the way, that wasn't difficult to close, I swear. It needs more adjusting. This car, have a look at this. You see these seats? I don't know how well the camera's showing them. All electric, by the way. But you would not know, would you, that there is essentially 210,000 miles on this interior, on this car, and on that engine. I don't know if that's going to show you. Yeah, big mileage. It was just £48,000 sterling in maintenance. I mean, it's a hell of a lot of money, but it does get you a car that at least runs well. That's it. I'll see you soon, and there'll be an episode along in a couple of days, and I'll see you then.